Welcome to the National 5 2026 Paper 1 walkthrough. I've been having some technical issues, so this is a re-record. Hopefully this one works. So let's get right into it. This is the non-calculator paper. There are 14 questions in total. So we're going to go through. I'm going to give some hints and tips as we go, some things to watch out for. So question 1, expand and simplify. This is simply multiplying out two brackets. You should have had plenty of practice at these. We're going to multiply all through by the y, and we're going to multiply all through by the plus 4. And that combined and simplified will give us the answer. So the method that I use is rainbow. So I'm going to do y times y squared, which is y cubed. Y times minus 3y, so that's minus 3y squared. Y times 2, so that's plus 2y. I'm going to do my plus 4 times y squared, so that's plus 4y squared. Plus 4 times minus 3y, which is a minus. 4 times 3 is 12y. And plus 4 times plus 2, so that's plus 8. Now it's time to find our common things. Brain shut down, can't remember the word now. So we're looking at our y squareds. Right, so that gives us a minus 3 and a plus 4. So 4 minus 3 is 1, so we've got a plus y squared. Doing the same with our y's, we've got a plus 2y and a minus 12y. So we have got minus, because the minus is a bigger number, minus 10y, and we've got the plus 8 on the end. Now, where do your points come from in this one? Well, that's easy. We've got 3 points in total. The first one is for multiplying out one bracket. The second one is for multiplying out the other bracket. And the third final point is for combining it all together, and you're done. Right, let's have a look at the next question. An electric car shows that it has enough charge remaining in its battery to travel 180 miles. The battery has 60% of its charge remaining. Calculate the number of miles the car can travel when the battery is fully charged. So we've got some information here we need. We've got 180 miles, and we're told that that is 60%. So we need to write that down. Even if you go no further, if you write down 180 equals 60%, you will get one of those 3 marks. Now we need to work out what fully charged is. Fully charged will be 100%, so that's what we're looking for. This is a reverse percentage question, and we're just going to find out what 1% is worth. You can find out what 10% is worth if you want to and work it that way. I am going to do 180 divided by 60, and this will get me what 1% is. Now I can do some easy cancelling down. I can get rid of those zeros. And 18 is in the 6 times table, so I can cancel down by 6, and that gets me 3. So I have got 1% is 3, so 300 is 100%, so 300 miles. That's all 3 points. 1 for cancelling down, 1 for recognising that it's reverse percentage, and 1 for your final answer. If you don't write down the 180 equals 60%, but imply it by doing the working out, then that's fine. You've got that point anyway. But if you can't see what to do, if you're completely stuck, just writing it down gets you a point. It's worth doing. Okay, question 3a. A restaurant recorded the waiting times to be seated from a sample of its customers. The waiting times in minutes of 10 customers were shown there. Calculate the median and interquartile range of the waiting times, and this is worth 3 marks. So we're looking for the median and the IQR. Remember, the median is the middle when you put it in number order. So our first step, put all this in number order. So we have got 2 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 14, 15, 18 and 20. It should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I've got 10. We want to find the middle for the median. So in the middle, we're going to be looking at here. So halfway between 6 and 8 is our Q2, our median. So our median is halfway between 6 and 8, which is 7. Our IQR, we need Q3 take Q1. Right? Q3 is the middle of our top half. Now, because our median was not one of the numbers itself, but between numbers, we still have to use the 8 in there. So we're looking at the halfway point in here. So here is our Q3. And the same with the bottom half. Here is our Q1. So what we've got here is 15 take 4. So our IQR equals 11. And our median is 7. We've got all 3 points there. We've got our 2 answers, and we put it in number order. Okay. Now we're going to need to know that information on the next page. So our median 7, our IQR is 11. So I'm just going to write that at the top here. Median was 7, IQR is 11. Right, so part B, a cafe also recorded the waiting time. So the top one was a restaurant, and the bottom one is a cafe. The median waiting times at the cafe was 5 minutes, and the IQR was 12 minutes. We have to make 2 valid comments comparing the waiting times at the restaurant and the cafe. Right, okay, let me see if I can do this. Of course, it's covering up half of it. Remember, when you're making your comments, you do not use the word median or mean, and you don't use IQR or standard deviation. What you use is average for your medians, and discuss the variability, the spread, or the consistency for your IQR. So the restaurant was 7 and the cafe was 5. So we can say, on average, the cafe had a shorter waiting time than the restaurant. And we can also say that the IQR for the cafe was 12, the IQR for the restaurant was 11, so the restaurant had a more consistent waiting times. You're not being checked on your spelling. It doesn't matter if you spell consistent the American way or the UK way. Right. And that's our points there. Question 4. Solve algebraically the inequation x plus 8 is less than 3 bracket x minus 2 plus 20. So first things first, it's worth 3 points. We've got a bracket there, so we're going to deal with that first. So I'm going to rewrite this without the bracket. So I've got x plus 8 is less than 3x minus 6 plus 20. I'm now going to tidy it up. Don't try and do too many things in one go. That's where mistakes happen. That's where the silly mistakes happen. 20 take away 6 is plus 14. Now, I always recommend that you do the x's to the side where they're going to be positive. So I'm going to take my x's to the right and my numbers to the left. That gives me 8 minus 14 on the left and 3x minus x on the right. If you don't remember why that's happening, please go back and look at the video on inequations or on algebra in general. Right, 8 minus 14 is minus 6 is less than 3x minus x is 2x. So I have got 6 divided by 2 is 3, so I've got minus 3 is less than x. I can leave it that way. I don't need to turn it around. I can turn it around if I want to, but remember, if you turn it around, you must flip the sign. It must always continue to point to the thing that it was pointing to. Now, if you did the other method, when we got to this point, your alternate would have been to take the x's to the left, and you would have had x minus 3x and 14 minus 8. So you'd have had minus 2x and 6. Now, because you've got a minus 2, you're going to divide through by a negative number. So you're going to have to remember you flip all your signs. If you don't, then you'll lose one of these marks. It's easier to not trip up if you keep them where the x's are positive. Next question. Sam walked 2 3/4 miles to a park and then a further 1 2/3 miles to a shop. Calculate the total distance Sam walked. Now, this is unusual for the SQA. Normally, simple fraction addition would be one of the first 3 questions on the paper. They've taken it a bit further in and they've given us it as a worded question. It's not any harder, it's just now got some words. So we've got 2 3/4 plus 1 2/3. First things first, there are a couple of ways you can tackle this with it being an addition, but the easiest way to avoid mistakes is to make top-heavy fractions, then make your denominators the same and work from there. So top-heavy fractions, 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11 over 4. And 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2, so that's 5 over 3. And now I want to make them all over 12 because that's our common denominator. 4 goes into 12 3 times, so I need 33. And 3 goes into 12 4 times, so I need 20. And I get over 12, I have 53. Now, 53 is not in the 12 times table. They gave us it as a mixed number. You can give them it back as a mixed number if you want, but you don't have to. But they did tell us it's miles, so we do need to put miles. I am going to give them the number of whole miles and part miles. So 12 goes into 53 4 times, 48, which leaves us 5 over 12 miles. Okay. All right, next question. Right, a teacher records the marks scored by pupils in her class for the prelim exam and the final exam. The scatter graph shows the relationship between the marks scored in the prelim exam, P, and the final exam, F. And we can see in the diagram that P is our x-axis and F is our y-axis. We've got the line of best fit drawn, and we're told 2 points. Right, so our general equation for a line is y equals mx plus c. We know that our x is a p, so we've got mp plus c, and we know our y is an f. So that is what our general equation for this question is going to be. We know point A is 30 in the prelim, so 30 in our x, and 54 in the final. And our point B is 90 in the prelim and 94 in the final exam. We have to find the equation of the line of best fit in terms of F and P, and give the equation in its simplest form. Step 1, find the gradient. Difference in y's over difference in x's, so we've got our gradient, and that is going to be the y's on the top, so 94 minus 54, because we did B take A, we do B take A on the bottom as well. 90 take 30. So we have got 40 on the top and 60 on the bottom. That's an easy number. So we can cancel off the zeros. 4 over 6, cancel that down, we get 2/3. And we need to work out our C value. So we can plug in 1 point and then work out our C value from that. I'm going to go blue so it's easier to see where I've changed what I'm doing. I'm still going to use Y and X because my brain can't cope with the change into F and P until the last second. Right, so our Y value for point A is 54. I prefer small numbers, so I'm going to work with the smallest point. Our gradient is 2/3. Our X is 30. And we're trying to work out our C value. Now, I can do some cancelling. That 30 goes into, get divided by 3 to get us 10. Right, we have got 54 equals 20 plus C. So 34 is our C value. Right, now we can write our line. So this F equals MP plus C. We've got our F equals 2/3 of our P plus our C is 34. And we have done it. So it's 3 things. We've got the gradient, we've got the so we've got the gradient there, we've got our C value there, and we've got our final equation in terms of F and P. We're going to use that on the next page. So let's have a look. So F equals 2/3 P plus 34. Write that down before I forget it. And we're going to find the, right, so our pupils scored 33 marks in the prelim exam. Find their estimate of the final mark in the final exam. Okay, so our prelim is P, so we have F equals 2/3 33, that's a 3, plus 34. I can immediately cancel that 3 into that 33 to get us 11. So F equals 2 times 11 is 22 plus 34. And 22 plus 34 is 56. Okay. I'm just writing it because I don't have units. Okay. Magnitude. Find the magnitude of D, the magnitude of vector D, and we're shown that D is 4, minus 5, and 7. And to express your answer as a surd in its simplest form, so we're going to have some cancelling to do. Remember that the magnitude of a vector uses a variation of Pythagoras, so you've got the square root of x, y, and z squared each. So x squared plus y squared, which is what Pythagoras looks like, plus z squared into the third dimension. Okay, 4 squared is 16. Minus 5 squared is 25. And 7 squared is 49. We add them all up and we get 90. Now we need to make it into its simplest form. 90 is 9 times 10. So I could write that as root 9 root 10. But 9 is not a surd. So root 9 is 3. And we get 3 root 10. And that's us now in its simplest form. Okay. Question 8. Change the subject of the formula to t. We've got a square root sign here covering the entire right-hand side. Our first step is get rid of that. So we have p squared is t minus 3l. Remember, the opposite of square roots is squares. Now just move that right-hand side to the left-hand side. And we get p squared plus 3l equals t. Technically, we're done. If you want to write it as t equals p squared plus 3l, you can do. You will not lose any marks if you don't do. We have got the diagram, y equals kx squared, and we've got 1 point in it, and we've defined the value of k. Now, in all the practice things we've been doing, we had nice easy numbers, and I just said, well, with 2, you would expect to have 4. So your k value is going to be whatever multiplies 4 to get 24. This is worth 2 marks, and that way of working would get you both marks, but for the sake of this one, I'm going to do it the proper way. We're going to replace our x and our y with the given values. So we have 24 equals k times 2 squared, which is 4. So we have 24 divided by 4 equals k. So our k is 6. Okay. I love this one. This is why we practice these. When you know what your angles do and what your properties of your circle are, these become just doing basic numbers. Right, we have got a tangent. So we have got a right angle here. So we know that this bit inside here, this bit, is going to be 90 take away 63, which is 27. So if that is 27, then that is also 27. We've got 40 here, so we're going to have 40 here. I've not even looked at the question yet. And if I know them, then I can work out these two. So let's see what they actually want us to work out. The diagram shows a circle with center 0. or O for the origin. DE is a tangent to the circle at the point P. DE and point P. I'm just realising you're not seeing my mouse moving around. I'll have to try and figure that one out. If I do no, that doesn't help. Okay, let me just get rid of. I didn't help myself there at all. There we go. Right, so I lost my 27 doing that. Okay, right. OBC is 40 degrees. ABE is 63 degrees. Calculate the size of the reflex angle AOC. So we're going from A to O to C. And we want the reflex angle, so we want the bigger side. Well, that's going to be easy because we know enough about these two triangles. So the triangle OBC, angle BOC will be 180 minus 40 minus 40, which is 100. So that's 100. And on the other triangle, we have got 180 minus 27 minus 27. 27 plus 27 is 54. So 180 minus 54, that is 100 and something 6, 126. So it says at the bottom, reflex angle AOC equals, and that's where they want us to state our final answer. So that is 126 degrees. And we are done. Vectors. Vector pathways. In fact, vector points. So we're working on the coordinate plane. We've got a cuboid, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and it is relative to the coordinate axes. That tells us that it's straight on. No weird angles going on here. B has coordinates 0, 8, and 4, so we know the height is 4, and it goes back as far as 8, because that's a back top corner. Because of the 0, we know it's on the y-axis itself, its x value is 0. H is 12 to 0, so it goes along 12 on the x-axis. It goes back 2 before the diagram starts, and it's got a height of 0, so its z-axis is on 0. EH is parallel to the x-axis, so we're no weird angles. We're dealing with 90 degrees angles. We're fine. State the coordinates of G. Well, G is also on the floor, so its z is going to be 0. It's back from H, which is 12. So we have got G as being 12 something 0. But what? Well, the back point we know is Y on the B point, so that's going to be 8 back. 12, 8, 0. Point 1 done. M is the midpoint of CD. State the coordinates of M. This is only worth 1 point, but really you want to find out C and D to find that. So C is above G, so 12, 8, and 4. D is above H, so 12, 2, and 4. The midpoint of M is going to be halfway, so we know that we are dealing with no space at the bottom to write it. We've got 12, and we've got 4. And the midpoint between 2 and 8. So you could do it as 8 plus 2 divided by 2. So, or you could write your numbers out if you don't want to. You don't count the one you start with. There's our midpoint. Okay. Next. Sketch the graph of y equals x plus 2 all squared plus 3. Show the coordinates of the turning point. So we need to make sure it's coordinates we show for the turning point, and the point of intersection with the y-axis. They've given us a graph to draw it on. I hate when they do that. You know me, I'd rather just say, okay, it's going to look like that. And then put my axes in afterwards. But because they've given us the graph, we have to use the graph. So we'll need to do our working out first. Okay, x plus 2 squared, all squared plus 3, that tells us our coordinate. Remember, it's minus a and b. So our turning point is at minus 2, 3, which I'm going to put here. We'll see what it looks like when I draw it, but roughly. Right, and the point where it crosses the y-axis is when x is 0. So let's have a think about that one. Y equals 0 plus 2 is 2 squared plus 3. 2 squared is 4 plus 3 is 7. So y equals 7. So about there. Now I'm going to attempt to draw it. Because it's a positive x, it's going to be a positive graph. So it's an upturned smiley graph, and I am nowhere near where I planned on putting it, which is why I don't like making the marks big. Right, our turning point is here. So we have got minus 2, we have got 3, we have got 7, and we want to put in the coordinate of minus 2, 3, and that's all they wanted from us. We're done. Question 13. Given that f of x equals 5 cos 2x, evaluate f of 90. There's a few different methods to work in this. I think possibly the easiest is just to draw out 5 cos 2x. So remember, cos goes that way. And because you've got 2x, you've got 2 of them between 0 and 360, which means that this point here, where it tops out at 1, is actually at 180 instead of at 360 because it's 2 of them fit in, which means your 90 is where your 180 would normally be. And we're going up to 5 and down to minus 5. So f of 90 is minus 5. Now you could know that f of 90 when cos is 1 is 0, and f of 2 times 90 is the f of 180, which would normally be minus 1, and you've got 5 of them, so you've got minus 5. It works, but the drawing's faster. Okay, now, I don't like factorising. And this one's not a nice one to factorise, but we're told we have to factorise. So we're looking for two things that multiply to give us -6. But we've got a 10x squared in here, so we're going to have the factors of 10 affecting our x. And whatever we do, we're going to end up with plus 11x in the middle. Yeah, I really hate these ones. So we've got a couple of options. We can do 10x and x, or we can do 5x and 2x. They're the factors of 10. We don't know which way around our plus and minus is going to be because we've got a minus going on at the back. So two things that multiply together to give us -6. Right, so 6 and 1, 2 and 3. So I could do 6 and 1, or 1 and 6, and 2 and 3, and 3 and 2, and work them all out. 6 or 1, 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and 3 and 2. Right, let's go through our, I mean, if you see it, you see it. If you don't see it, you have to work it out the hard way. So if the 10x, if we've got this first one, if we've got 6 times x, we've got 6x. 10 times 1 is 1, so that 10x and 6x, nothing we can do will give us 11. So it's not that. The next one, we've got an x and a 60x. That's not going to give us 11. 2x and 30x. Doesn't matter whether we add them or take them, we're not going to get 11. And 3x and 20x, again, we're not going to get 11 there. Right, 5 times 6 is 30, so, oh, what am I doing? 6 times 2 is 12, so we've got 12x, and 6 times 1, 5 times 1 is 5, so we've got 5x. Closer, but still not going to get 11. Right. 2x and 30x. No, that's further away. 4x and 15x. Ah, now we can get 11 with them. Remember, we've got to take one from the other. I'll just write the other one down for the sake of finishing. So I've got 6x and 10x. So the only one that works is that one. So we know our numbers are going to be that way around. We've got 5x and 3, and we've got 2x and 2. No, I've just written that the wrong way, haven't I? That's where the 3 goes. This should be a 2. There we go. Because I'm doing that one. Right. Okay. Now we've got to figure out which is plus and which is minus. Well, we need our bigger number to be the plus because we've got plus 11x. And our bigger number is our 5 times 3 is 15. So we've got plus there and minus there. Okay, that's paper 1 finished. See you in paper 2.